All right, a little audio check here on all the items. Do we have audio? What's up? What's up? I hope everybody's doing good. I hope you can hear me. We'll see in a second when the chat starts going. Get some folks in here. Yeah. Cool. All right. Man, I have got a click bait. I got the click bait title today. I'm amused at myself. I'm ashamed that I've stooped so low. Been a busy week. First of all, who all's coming to the clinics up in the Northeast this week? We got a lot. We have, let me just pull up the old schedule here because I don't want to lie to you. I've got a plethora of items I'd like to share with you, and I don't want to be incorrect. Let's see if I can find it. I always misplace things on the old cellular device, and then I can never find them when I need them. So I've got a really great image of the clinics, and I don't know what I've done with it. I don't know where it's at. So we got some clinics next week. We got some shows with Seth Rosenblum. And as I scroll through my phone, I'm trying to find them. I'm ashamed of myself. I should have had this prepared before we started. You know, did I put it in the favorites? Let's just check another album, you know? Let's see if it's in that. It's not. Oh, well. Maybe Chuck will be able to help me out. We've got, I leave on the 3rd, and we start in Charlotte. And we're going to Midwood Guitar Studio in Charlotte. And I'm doing a clinic there, and then we're doing a clinic at Matt's Music, and then another one at In Stuff, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, and then we've got a show at the City Winery in New York with Seth, and then another show at a brewery. It's a place that he plays a lot in Boston. Anyways, Chuck, are they on andywoodmusic.com? Is that the answer? Anyways. So first and foremost, those are coming up. That's April 3rd. Another big announcement is the Dallas Guitar Festival. I'll be playing that in May. My good buddy Uncle Ben will be rolling down with me, and we'll be working with a drummer that we've never worked with before, which is Josh Rogers. Also, man, the drummer in the rhythm section up in Boston and New York will be guys that I've never met. So it's a lot. It's a lot of things kicking. All that I mentioned and more is on the events page of andywoodmusic.com. Yes, if you're looking for where I'm going to be, where I'm going to be playing, when I'm going to be playing, that's going to be on Andy Wood Music, and I hope to see you guys there. It's going to be really fun. So with that out of the way, let's get to the clickbait. Tabs suck. Now look, I've got to confess. I got my books here of some of my favorite things. Brent Mason's not too far away. Johann Sebastian Bach, he's good at stuff. He makes good music. I've got things. Look at this. Look at these books. Education is good. This one cracks me up. This one is the Mark O'Connor Markology book. And a huge amount of this is transcribed incorrectly. just for the record. That one's all over the place. However, I'm not hating. Somebody put in a lot of work. They just didn't get the note. They didn't get the positions right, when they were transcribing it. That happens. Whatever. So why did I start today's stream with tabs suck? Why have I got a video called Tabs Suck? I'm just kidding, sort of. Here's the reason. Look, this isn't about me. It's about the guitar community. So I'm going to use the terms we. We as a guitar community, okay? Tabs are a great tool. Here's why I think they suck. They made us as a guitar community really entitled. Okay? We're really entitled to just, hey, you got the tabs for that? That it's just such a lazy man's way of solving the issue of how do you play something. And I hate to say it like that. It is. It's an entitlement, and it's a lazy approach. I spent some time last week. I was playing on a session in Nashville, and I got to spend some time with my good friend Travis Toy. And we talked about it's not the assimilation of the lick that matters. It's not if you can do the lick that matters. What matters is the process of training your ear to become better. Okay. By that, I mean, like, today I played the Dan Huff solo to, 2 More Bottles of Wine, and it's a great solo. And I've got it, 90, 95. Sorry. Speak of the devil. I just got a message from Travis. Let me turn that on silent. So when I talk about the process of solving of improving your ear, and the process being more important, I'll give you a couple examples. Dan Huff became really cool and gave us a lot of cool sounds because he can't play like Brent Mason. So what he was doing was taking his rock chops and then assimilating, some Brent-isms, and there's some good ones in that solo. It's like, those kind of things where it's like those kind of like almost faux pedal steel bends, but they don't sound like Brent. They don't sound like, those are the more Brent kind of approaches. I kind of caught my nail on that, but it's like, he didn't sound like Brent. Okay, another great example is like Nuno learning Van Halen. He didn't sound like Eddie, but learning it wrong, like made Nuno sound like Nuno, right? So the process of learning people's stuff by ear, you end up playing stuff in the wrong positions. Like when I first learned the Bottle of Wine solo, I was playing it like that. But he doesn't play like that. He plays like this. He plays it here. The only reason I know that is because, I spent a little extra time and I could hear the difference in the string set. It's learning that. But what if I learned the lick wrong? What if I learned it wrong? And I didn't learn. What if I learned? What if I learned that thing? That now has become a lick and something that I've created by actually learning something incorrectly by striving and using my ear. It's a really long description. I'm sorry it's wordy. I'm sorry I'm a little frazzled in how I'm trying to describe it. It's hard to get my thoughts together, and I don't ever use a script for this stuff. So when you're learning stuff incorrectly, and I use the quotations because it's not incorrectly, you're training your ear and you're working on that process of honing it out and being able to listen to the difference between they sound different, right? And it's learning which one is the right answer, and learning the lick wrong can be really beneficial. So Jay's got a great point. There's a big difference between downloading tabs versus being the transcriber. That's the answer. Jay is right. if you are the transcriber and you're putting it into tab to document, then yeah, man, that's awesome. I have my books here, and it's almost for verification sometimes that I'm right and the tablature's wrong, or vice versa. You know, especially the older days, the books would be really wrong. I remember as a kid getting a John Petrucci Train of Thought transcription book, and I was going to learn some stuff from Train of Thought, and then I watched the live at Budokan, and I was like, this transcription is dog crap. It's not even close. And so lo and behold, it's like, I had to sit there with the video and watch John play it, right, to get the things down that I was trying to learn. When you're the transcriber, you're putting your brain and your ear through the paces of finding the right notes. Now, tabs are a beneficial tool for documentation in no different way than standard notation is. Like, I don't believe that there's a superiority. I mean, if anything, tablature is superior to standard notation if it's transcribed correctly, because guitar has multiple C. And you're like, well, where in the world should I play this piece of music? How should I have this chord voiced? It's not like piano where you have one of every note. That's incorrect when it comes to guitar. So standard notation can be a bit of a lie to you. Whereas tablature is a little bit stronger just when it comes to stringed instruments and finger position and hand position and stuff like that. It's a thing where you're documenting. Okay. Now let's talk about why I say it sucks. Let's dig into this, and I'm gonna be a negative Nancy here for a little bit. This stuff sucks because it's equated the guitar itself to just an elaborate version of Guitar Hero. And I'm going to sound like, okay, boomer, go bend some strings and play the blues, like whatever. It's like, I refuse to believe that there is this wall between the younger generation and the older generation. If there was this so-called separation, then younger kids wouldn't give a crap about Eddie Van Halen, and they obviously do. Like, kids love Steve Vai just like they did 30 years ago, right? So it's not that there's this separation. What has happened is the process in which we make music and we create music, and the way we're using software to assist us in the creation of music, where it's like, oh, we'll take a note and put it into an arpeggiator. Like, I heard Tim Henson talk about this. It was really fascinating because Tim was talking about how he had something, he put it into an arpeggiator, and then he learned the arpeggio. I was like, wow, okay, that's an interesting way. I don't work like that personally. I just kind of sit with the guitar. Or if I need some inspiration, I'll pick up an acoustic or play a mandolin or something, or a different style of electric guitar, or something to kind of force me down a different path. But this was really interesting to hear him talk about this. And then I had a meeting last week. I had a long day with Levi Clay, who's transcribing my record because I care about it being accurate. And, we worked on positions and things like that. Levi's ear is so good. I mean, that's really all it boils down to, is the positions of the licks. Now, it came up that he's like, there was a fast lick, and like, I was like, oh, I don't remember how to play it. And he goes, yeah, but you're not going to play it like that live ever again. So we started laughing. There's such a high level of improvisation to my music that when I do play songs like Junktown or Forgotten Secrets or Reach or something, anything from my library, I'm going to be improvising a lot over the solo sections. So these transcriptions, it's like, I don't even remember what I did because I improvised it on the record. This leads us to the Van Halen thing, where it's just like improvisation being such a huge tool for a lot of the legacy players, right? And why I think tabs suck, because it's instilling this false idea into the narrative of guitar and guitar community that, like, there's the real way that Eddie Van Halen did it. You want the real way to play like Eddie Van Halen? Don't ever play it the same way twice. That's the real way. If you look up Van Halen playing Hot for Teacher, you're going to get all these different nuances and different approaches to the notes. It's never going to be the same thing twice. He never plays that solo the same way twice. He has hooks that he addresses and things that are composed. We're talking about, and then he's off to the races again. The fast little flourishes, it's like those could be different every single time. So if you want the real way, you got to be able to use your ear. You got to be able to improvise. That's where tablatures kind of build a bit of a false narrative, in that there is this way that you should learn, and it is a bit of a lazy man's way, because you're not spending any time trying to decipher the code with your ear, therefore improving your ear, therefore allowing you to improvise better and have different areas of the neck to play in, because you're looking for it. It's not just being handed to you. Unfortunately, guitar, for a lot of people, is very frustrating because it's got a steep wall of difficulty, and people have become entitled by spending too much time on TikTok and YouTube, like we're doing right now, and they're just entitled to whatever the right answer is. And you didn't even, like, I had a comment, it's like, you didn't even teach anything. You just sat there and showed off for an hour. I'm like, I spent an hour walking through relative subjects, right? Like, can you be a beginner and understand what I'm saying? Yeah, but it's not going to be as beneficial as if you're an intermediate player, or if you've been playing a little bit. If you are a beginner, you need to spend time learning chords up and down the neck, like just learning G, all the different places to play G major, right? And different grips for it. That's really beneficial, more so than being like, okay, well, the tablature says, and you get that up to speed, and maybe it's like you kind of got the cart in front of the horse. So you've been playing for 3 months, and you can do all this stuff, but you don't know how to play a solo over the key of A. Like, you don't know how to go. You got to have fundamental. You got to understand that there's a foundation to build upon. And I think tablatures bypass some of that foundation oftentimes, and it gets you into a position to where you've learned something, but you have no idea what you're doing. You're just regurgitating the numbers. Nothing means anything. So you can't play those licks in another key. You can't play them in another song. You've built this prison around yourself that you can only do the one thing the one time. And then it's just like, well, what? You're not really expanding your playing. And then inevitably the darkness happens and you get frustrated and you don't play as much as you used to, right? Like, we get to the point where we want that gratification of progress, and we use tablatures to do that. But if that's not used in conjunction with studying your ear and letting your ear guide you, then you're going to end up frustrated. You're going to end up quitting. Not quitting, but just, it's going to be like the number one thing I see on my Patreon, which is guys being like, man, I've just played for 15 years and I'm just repeating myself all the time. I'm like, yeah, you're not expanding what the areas to play stuff in. So let's hit the chat. That's my spiel. That's my thoughts. That's 20 minutes of me rambling. Stream of conscious. Let's hit the chat and like get things going. Get the questions rolling in. Randy Heston's in the house. Yeah, man. Here we go. Wadey, honestly, he says, Wadey1960 says, I honestly gave up on tabs years ago after going through so many incorrect tabs on Ultimate Guitar and other sites. I just buckled down and tried to use my ear. That's the thing, right? So tablatures on websites, oftentimes, I didn't even address this, they can be incorrect. Now, there's always the roadmap that they can allow to happen. Guys that you should follow. Levi Clay, he's great. Great transcriber. His tabs are super accurate. Shredder Jim on Instagram, he's great. Great transcriber. The tabs are accurate, but they should be used in conjunction with whatever you're studying, whether it be a genre, a style of music. You know, it's like common question I get is, hey man, do you have any tabs for bluegrass? And I just want to go, what the hell? You know, tabs for bluegrass? Like, it does work like that, but it's more important that you get in there and study. I teach on Patreon from the perspective of slowing stuff down, showing why I'm using the guitar, the positions on the fretboard that I'm using in one genre versus showing where I would use that same position in another genre of music, and how these just simple hand positions will change the dictation of how something sounds. That's so important. Yeah, I mean, just straight out, the tabs can just be wrong. Jay's got the right answer. If you're transcribing, man, you're learning and you're pushing the ear. Okay, so Marcus is here. Finally, I'm live. It's been months. I've missed out by minutes before I went downstairs and played PS5. Yeah, I love it. Welcome, Marcus. Welcome. Okay. Edwin, I'm checking some questions. Edwin says, tabs help if you need to learn a lot of songs in a short time. It's a starting point. Then correct what's obviously wrong, then get on stage. Yeah, I mean, learning a lot of songs in a short time, let me show you what's going to help you. This book right here is by my friend Jim Riley. And this is the Song Charting Made Easy book. I always keep it on my desk for people that need to know how to write a number chart. So, you know, this is 1, 5, 2 minor, 4, 5. Like if we're in the key of, you know, A, we've got A, E, 2 minor is B minor, 4 is D, 5 is E. This book right here will help you learn a lot of songs in a short amount of time. If you're trying to learn a bunch of songs that have a bunch of solos in a short amount of time, it's like, what happened in the equation? Did you say yes to something you weren't prepared to do? Like, is that on the menu? That, you know, it's like, it does help you assimilate it, but the idea that you get to a point where you can just hear things, it's like, man, you can do it faster than you can read the tab. You know, tabs are, I do better if I could just see somebody's hands and hear it. Like that's the fastest way for me to learn something. Fishbulb's in the house. He says, I like seeing how people play certain chords via tab. I seem to naturally do things the hardest way possible. So this is interesting because you said you're doing things the hardest way possible. You're learning different shapes because you're basing it on your ear. Okay. Now, when you're using the tablatures to see how something's played, what prevents one? Now, I'm not trying to be just negative Nancy. I'm not. I'm just saying, like, what would be more valuable, seeing someone's hand on the fretboard or the tablature? Now, again, there may not be a video for everything. There may not be a tablature for everything. I just think it goes back to, if you want the fastest growth, unfortunately, the quickest way to get instantly gratified is a tablature. But that's the front end of the curve. And then you hit a wall, and then you just hit a wall. You can't improvise. You can't, you know, assimilate and learn quickly. You're always relying on the tablature to do the work for you. Now, on the flip side, the steep learning curve and the wall is on the front of it. But once you get over it and your ear is in a good spot, you can just listen, and you're actually faster than using the tablatures. Right? So it's an interesting thing. And I think the thing that I go back to is, in my opinion, and only my opinion, tabs should not be the primary source for your musical education. They just shouldn't. The ear should be. The ear is the most important thing. That's my opinion. And if somebody chimes in and says I'm crazy, that's okay. You can disagree with me. We can disagree. I think the ear is the most important thing you have as a musician, and being able to listen and hear how the rhythm section will move around you and address to that. That way you're not just playing in your own little world and not listening to the music around you, playing with the pocket. Like, if you play along with Cliffs of Dover, or songs off of Venus Isle, or songs from the Dregs catalog, like stuff that I've played a lot in my life and played along to, like, those things aren't perfectly gridded, like a lot of modern metal is perfectly gridded. So there's a speed up and a slow down to the rhythm section. If you're just playing to the tablature, you're not listening to that speed up and the slow down of the rhythm section and the push and the pull of the rhythm. You're just kind of blasting through it. So your pocket sounds like it sucks, right? Like that's a cause of that. That can be a major handicap when you're trying to play along with music that's not perfectly gridded. By gridded, I just mean like they've quantized like the drums and everything's just like on the grid, right? So, okay, here we go. More questions. Orchestra sections. Oh, crap. It's moving. The chat is moving quick today. I feel like I kicked the hornet's nest. That's okay. I'm prepared for it. Because I kind of believe what I'm saying. You know, I do. I don't feel like I'm lying to you guys. I feel like I'm telling you the truth. Johnny Layton's in the house. He says orchestra section leaders indicate what string and fingering combinations to use for their sections to sound like a true chorus. But yeah, great point that we've already got a pedal for that. That's great, right? Tuning while I listen to you. Wow. So true. I made the exact same experience with tabs. I'm really an ear guy from early on. That's really great, man. I think tabs are super beneficial when something becomes where you've got the notes, but you don't understand how to play it because maybe there's some string skipping and some tapping, or there's something that is being altered to the guitar that like you're like, oh, what if it's tuned different? And you go, man, I know the notes, and here they are, and I can write down the notes. But it's this chord, but I can't play it. A tablature transcription, or just looking up the band live and seeing them play it live, that'll help with tunings. There are benefits to tabs. But my whole point of today is making sure that you're not reliant on them to become a better musician. And when you see a little video lesson on Instagram that doesn't have a tablature, don't just watch it once and give up. Don't just see something once and give up. Like getting in there and digging into it and listening over and over again. And if you don't get it the first time, that's great. Go back and listen again. Like the repeat study is the most valuable thing you can do for your ear. Okay, let's keep going. Caesar says, glad you make this video, Andy. Well, it's a live stream, so we're making it together. He says, as an ear player for 38 years, both on guitar and piano, I agree 100%. I know theory, but I've always trust my ears. Trust the ear, man. Fishbowl says, Steve I did that eruption transcription back in the day and haul the tapping on the wrong string. Man, how funny, right? It's like that's a great example. You just had it all on the wrong string, right? It's a great subject here we're talking about. Johnny's saying 1,000% truth about the improvisation aspects. He says a pillar for jazz and bluegrass that make them so awesome and daunting. Tabs are like ice and fire. It may all be music, but they are different species of music. I like that. It is definitely a different species of music. So true here. All right. He says, so glad you started an hour earlier. I didn't. I always start at 3 p.m. Eastern. So for you guys keeping score, I start at 3 p.m. Eastern. Fishbowl says, I heard Wes Hawk, who is amazing. You guys need to go listen to Wes play guitar. He's amazing. Refer to practice for the sake of growth lately as going to the church. I think that's a good way to put it. Yeah, you got to go to the church and practice. Guitar is not a video game. Great points here. Jace Moore says, I actually enjoy correcting tablatures by pulling it in audio to the tabs. But again, using the ear. Yes, brethren. That's the truth right there. I grew up picking up the needle on albums. That's old school. So D. Hayes is an old school cat, doing the record thing. I was a CD era guy, and then it transitioned into LimeWire and stuff like that. I really hated LimeWire because I couldn't move the scroller as easy as you can, Spotify and stuff these days, It's just water, not drinking. I'm not day drinking. It's just water. Okay. James Harrell's got a little off topic. James says, have I tried the Soldano Astro amp? I've not, but I desperately want a SLO 100. So I don't know why. I don't need another high gain amp, but I want one. Rob says, as a 2-year beginner, I recently hit the epiphany of how bar and power chords teach me the notes that make up the minor and major scale. On the fingerboard. This is great. It's a great example. So here's something I want to talk on real quick is letting the hand be your teacher. So if you play A minor and we have that A minor sound, if I look to the left of my first finger, I've got nothing, right? It's like, and we think that the fretboard's starting right here. It's actually not. Put this side of the hand where the first finger is. So put your root there. And now you've got this kind of thing to play with. We do it the other way. So this side of the hand, put the first finger where these fingers are. And you're going to have to practice to understand what's around that position. that's nice, right? Like I don't think I've ever played that chord before in my life in this grip. But it's like it came to me because I'm looking at the idea of, well, this is down here. Those notes are there, right? They're all right there. I learned how to operate the guitar by this kind of process where I was just taking what was happening on one side of my hand and putting it to the other. Here, right? Okay. Right? So it's like if you take the time to understand how a tuner works, right? E, A, D, G, B, E, then you should be able to figure out every note on the guitar. By E is down here, so F is here, right? G is here, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E. Taking just songs that you know, that instead of looking at the tabs, like if you look at Stairway to Heaven, you go, well, the tab says, you never learn that the melody is, that's the melody of the song, right? If you're going on the tabs, you never even learn that. You never even learn that that's how the song goes, right? Right? You're never taking the time to dig deeper down into the subject matter that you really love. I love rock. I love rock music. All kinds of different forms, fashions of rock music. And I want to learn as much as I can and be a better rock player, just like I want to be a better bluegrass player, better country player. You know, I want to learn all these different aspects of these genres of music that I'm really into. And a lot of that means not just stopping at the tablature or stopping at the guitar solo and being like, oh, I got the. It's like the whole picture of the song is the most valuable thing you can have, right? Okay, here we go. Digging in here. More on the question side of things. Here we go. Let me scroll back up. Okay, yeah, same kind of topic Marcus is saying about The Bite of the Mosquito by Petrucci. Looking at tabs, watching the videos, and using the ear and brain to be like, how does this work together? That's it, right? It's like not reliant on the tablature, right? It's tough to judge the progress of your ear. That's a great point, because you can never, there's not like a way of completion when you start working on stuff from your ear's perspective. Versus if you get through a song and you've memorized the tablature, you're like, oh, I can do that. I've memorized that. That seems like an easier watermark to make versus your ear just slowly evolving. Jeremy says, I like tabs for when I'm stuck on a part, even when they're wrong. Sometimes it gets you thinking about it in a different way. But again, you're looking at it kind of what I'm talking about. You're using the tablature as like, all right, I've hit a brick wall. What's happening? And then you go, the tab's his hand's here. Well, I can see that on screen. His hand's up here. So this tablature's wrong. So by process of elimination, you've used the tablature to prove that it's incorrect. Luke says, can you show us the book cover again? I just missed it when trying to find it online. Sure. This is Jim Riley's book, Song Charting Made Easy. If you want to be a successful session player, a successful sideman, being able to write a great chart, or even just being able to scratch out a chart that only you understand, this is the starting point. This is a really great book. Really, really good stuff. Teach you what a diamond is. You're going to hear that term a lot in Nashville. Oh, it's diamonds. I'm going to put some diamonds on the end of that, Yeah. Right? That kind of thing. Jeremy says, I like tabs from. Got that comment. I think both, honestly. Yeah, I mean, it's really about, it's not taking the title of my video too seriously and saying, look, Andy never uses tabs. That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm getting at. What I'm getting at is it's no different than a capo, right? Like having a capo is a good thing to have, right? But like being solely reliant upon it, like I'm a bluegrass guy. So if we have the key of A and bluegrass world, I'm going to put this capo on, I'll probably grass at you. But if I don't have that capo and I've still got to play that style of music, like it's still there. So I'm not reliant upon the capo to, God, I don't have a capo, I can't play anything, right? It's like, that's not it. It's not reliant on the tabs. And again, it's like just trusting my ear and the knowledge of the fretboard and how to navigate it, right? And if you're interested in learning bluegrass or improving your guitar playing, this is a great point to say, join us on Patreon. It's a great community. We've got a bunch of guys. Some of the guys are in here, Wayne Bracer, Jay, Randy Heston, a lot of our Patreon members. We've got a great community. It's definitely, from what I gather, it's different than a lot of other Patreons. I'm not going to say it's better. It's just different because it's more of a communal aspect. I kind of run it like a social media, and I just post on it all the time. Most of the time it's videos, stuff that I'm kind of digging. Stuff that people request, Patreon members can put in requests and get videos for what they want, even up to, having lessons and master classes. We have a weekly live master class we do every Wednesday. So yeah, great opportunity to say that. Blah, 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 blah. Click here, buy now. We get it, Andy. Stop selling this crap. I get it. Yeah. I feel that way too. Wayne says tab may tell you where to play a phrase, but how it should sound, you need to develop your ear to find that. That's another great point, right? If you see on the tab that it's, or maybe it's not telling you how long the bend should be. Is it, or is it, you don't know these things without listening to to albums and music to understand the speed of the bend, the width of the vibrato. Usually in tablature, you just have a squiggly line. You're like, is the vibrato this? Or is it... Like, those are two different vibratos. You know what I mean? So, like, which one's the right answer? This guy will tell you. This guy right here will tell you the answer. You just got to get used to hearing it and spend time on the instrument working through, it's that thing. It's just getting that ear rolling around, man. Okay, here we go. Also, this is from Fish. Also, as someone who has toured with regional bands, there's no tabs available for these bands. The ear is the only option. That's a great point. What if you got to do a gig and it's like get hired for Rascal Flatts, man. I'm not going to say, where's the tab book? Like, that's crazy talk. That's crazy town. You don't live in crazy town, right? Okay. Okay, here's a good one. Leon Melagris says, "Hello. Let me ask a polemic question. I don't know the word polemic. Quad Cortex or Kemper? Be honest. I personally think the Kemper stuff is not it. I don't like it. I don't like how you pull up an image and if you move one thing, it sounds fake. Now, here's the benefit of the Kemper. If you got a guy like, Jimmy Olander, my buddy Michael, these guys know Kemper and they have the studios to where they can capture the things and they use their captures. That's it. Okay. But if you're trying to dial it, forget about it. I don't like it. I haven't played a Quad Cortex, but I know there's some great tones that I've heard online that it's really happening. I think Neural DSP stuff is powerful in the box, actually, just on the computer. Really powerful stuff. Hit the like button. Please hit the like button. And if you like what I do, go to Patreon and throw $5 in the tip bucket. There you go. It's like throw $5 in the old beer bucket. It allows me to keep doing these things for free, right? That's essentially what we're doing here, is just doing stuff for free. Randy Smith says he's got a Kemper and a power cab and he loves it. Man, great. I'm happy. I think there's a lot of people that get some great sounds out of the Kemper. I'm not one of them. It's not for me. Out of the modeling camp, I like the fractal stuff the best. That's just me. I get the best tones out of that thing. FM9 if you're going to play live. Oh crap. I just moved the chat way too far. Let me try to scroll back up. There we go. Fernando. Hey, Andy. I'm learning more country recently as a metal guy. Where should I start theory-wise? I'm getting my chicken picking down, but I'm having trouble with the harmony to sound authentic. Okay, this is a great topic right here, and this will probably take us home for today's episode. Fernando, here's your basic idea. Let's talk about the key of A, because that's the key that we like to, we like that stuff. Key of A. So when I'm thinking key of A in a country bluegrass environment, I'm thinking I'm going to have a major third, but I'm also going to be using that minor third into it a lot. So I'm going to have a major third. So we have flat 7. Let me turn off some of the gain. Less delay. Just reverb. Just reverb, folks, and the Woodshed compressor. Okay. So now, if I think about the major chord, this is a dominant 7th sound, right? So dominant 7 just means we have a flat 7. Root, 3rd, 5th, 7th, root, 3rd. So when I'm playing those, that's just 1, 3, 5, 7, 1, 3, 5, 7 different ways, right? So the theory behind country music is that almost every note can be correct in a major chord. If I have I've got that kind of groove going, I can have I've got that minor third, major third. Now I also gave you another one. I gave you a flat 5. So I've got 1, 2, minor 3, 4, 5, flat 5. This is where we're at. I mean, there it is right there. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Sorry, I was playing in G for a second. Let's go back to A. There it is. So I've got 6, but I could play flat 6 and major 6. Right? So now I've got a scale that's got 1, 2, flat 3, 3, 4, flat 5, 5, flat 6, 6, flat 7, 1. So we got how many notes? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. A 10 note scale. And there it is. So the idea is you're less thinking about notes and scales. Here we go, folks. Put on the hat. The idea is that you're using your ear to understand the proper phrasing. Now, am I going to phrase something in a country environment? Not often. I might have it for a lick. I can make it work, but in general, that's not really what I'm doing. What I'm using is that sounds way more authentic and way more country, right? It's just understanding where these notes are going to go from a phrasing aspect. It's all about the phrasing aspect. If you want to be a great country player, I would tell you less. I would tell you less about theory, and I would tell you more about where to look from a musical standpoint, Fernando. Learn less about theory, worry less about theory, because we got a 10-note scale. They got 10 notes that you could play, and learn more about Ray Price, Merle Haggard, Johnny Cash, George Jones, Buck Owens, learning the language of what is country music, Willie Nelson records. Like, you need to learn the songs. It's about the songs, and the melody lines that the singers are singing will teach you how to phrase within the genre. Now, if you're looking for more advanced stuff into the genre, you're going to start listening to the steel players, the steel guitarists, and the fiddle players. And yes, some of the guitar players like freaking Clint Strong and Roy Nichols and who else is awesome? Albert Lee. Come on, Albert Lee, you kidding me? Monster. A video came up the other day of, like, I guess I had posted doing the Country Boy solo, and I forgot how nasty that was. I need to go back and relearn it. A lot of this stuff, it's like I learn it and I never play it, and it's like, well, I don't remember how that goes. But yeah, you need to learn the ins and outs of the genre by studying the music as a language. That's really the truth, man. And there's no shortcuts. That's also the thing. Like, tabs are a shortcut. You want to be a country player? You're not going to get that from tabs. You're going to have to dedicate a couple of years to your life to, like, learning the language. And here's the most important thing I can say. Don't learn this stuff if you don't love it. Like, I genuinely love it. So I listen to this music. Like, I listen to Alan Jackson records and Brooks and Dunn records. Man, I listen to Brooks and Dunn once a week. I love that music. It's not a cliche. It's not something I do as a joke, or it's not something I do to be hokey. It's like, I genuinely love it. Merle Haggard, I love that stuff. So only spend time on it if you like it. If you really enjoy it. That's the magic. Just play what you really love. Here's what you don't do. You don't see a video of me or John Five or Zach Wilde or some rockish kind of guy doing some country stuff and be like, oh, I want to do that to impress somebody, and then try to find a cliche lick and do it and be like, now I know a country lick. It's like, that's not it, man. John Five knows a lot of country music. He knows a lot of Buck Owens and a lot of, classic country things. He's playing Les Paul solo the other day. It's like, that guy genuinely knows the foundation of the language, right? And so it's not a cliche to him. It's like ripping stuff, and he enjoys it. That's why he got so good at it, right? I think that's the perspective that needs to be taken versus seeing something that's flashy on YouTube and being like, ooh, I need to learn some country because I'm not a good guitar player if I don't learn country. Stevie Ray Vaughan was the greatest guitar players of all time. He didn't know anything country, right? Like, don't worry about country if you don't need it. Like, why? Like, Eddie Van Halen didn't, that's not true. I mean, an argument can be made for what's the tune. I'm going to play it wrong. Whatever that tune is, that's kind of Albert Lee-ish. It's sounding a little bit, but even then, he's not a country player, right? Just learn it if you want to learn it because you love the genre. And that's my thoughts on the theory of it, but it's less about the theory and it's more about the process of learning the language, right? Okay, here we go. A couple more questions. Chuck says, true story. Friend that's GIT graduate back in the 80s got hired as transcription major for music publisher. He transcribed commercial tabs all day from listening to cassettes. Wow. Tabs were all I used when I was learning in the 90s. I wish someone would have told me this bit of wisdom then. Now I'm trying to relearn all the stuff I should have. Yeah, man. There you go. That's it. But you got time, man. It's like here's the good news and the bad news. We will all die without mastering the guitar. Don't care who you are, nobody could do it all, right? Eddie Van Halen could never do the George Benson thing, right? It's like that doesn't matter because he just became Eddie Van Halen, right? And vice versa. Right? Here we go. Larry says, Andy, you were talking about live at Budokan. Can you play Hollow Years? Not off the top of my head. There was once a moment in my life where I did have that thing down. I'm not going to butcher it. I haven't played Hollow Years in 15 years, maybe longer, 18 years. But yeah, it's a great one, man. Johnny Layton says, hey, that's a David Greer recommendation too. Spend some time thinking of a melody and trying to find it on the guitar. Cold. That's it, man. Billy Wagner says, I ordered some Woodshed pickups for my Classic T. The classics were too hot. This is the answer. These babies sound great. Let me walk you through it. Here's clean tone. Here's a beautiful neck pickup tone. Here's a slightly driven tone. Here comes a crunchy tone. It's really nice and chewy. Ah. All right, and then full gain. There's a quick walkthrough of the Woodshed pickups. They sound really great. I really love these pickups. My favorite Tele pickups that Sir makes, and they rock. Fishbowl says, tons of good stuff in that Patreon. Cheers. Well, just uploaded that Dan Huff solo if you want to learn that. Boy, that's 2 Dan Huff solos this month. But hey, whatever. I don't care. I love it. Edwin says, your sound is amazing, but I honestly think it's you. Andy put 2 nails on opposite ends of a piece of wood. I wish, dude. It's not. These are all tools that I've crafted as part of my sound. You know, it's all about the end result, right? Yeah. Okay. Boy, the chat has been on fire today. Thank you guys for hanging out and being part of a good stream and a good hang. I'm excited to dig deeper into some of these topics this upcoming week up in the Northeast. Get your tickets. We got Midwood in Charlotte. We got Matt's Music and the City Winery in New York. It's going to be great, man. Yeah. Wes wants to see the Silver Telly. I've got it tuned for a half step down. But yeah, here it is. It's 2 humbuckers with a 5-way switch. In the back position, this is series parallel, so I can get a little bit of a single coil kind of sound. And then the 2 inside coils, all humbucker, just the neckmost coil, and just the neck pickup. And we place the neck pickup as close to the fretboard as possible to give you good neck pickup tone. Sculpted heel joint in the back. Asymmetrical, so you can really get your hand up there. Totally a ripper. This thing is a ripper. 16-inch radius, so it's fretboard radius, so it's flat, nice and flat. Big frets. stainless steel frets, recessed tremolo, so you can pull it up as far as you want. It's killer, man. It's a killer ride. Really, really love it. So, and it's in that awesome Corvette gray, that really, really great shade of gray, kind of that hypersonic gray. Yeah. Okay, here we go. That was one of the last ones. Sup, everybody? Brent Mason is one of the greatest of all time. He's my favorite guitar player of all time just because he's the guy that got me into electric guitar. It's like hearing his solo made me want to play electric guitar. Yeah. Liam says, you have to love how Minor Clam begets the most astounding licks ever. I mean, yeah, it's just like, I'm shooting from the hip here. Nothing's going to be perfect. Hey, on the flip side, I could always just make a bunch of content and mime it. Like so many people on Instagram. Just get on there and they're like, I'm like, dude, vibrato doesn't even look like what you're doing. But, they'll have, a billion views and it's like, oh, you're so good. I'm like, you're so good at miming is what you're good at because you didn't play that. You went in and edited it. But we're not doing that. We're live, shooting from the hip. So that's what we got for today. I found this, one of the new songs on my new album is Master Gracie's Manor. And I found this when I was at Disney World. And it's Master Gracie's Tombstone. So that's going to be good to have mounted up in the studio. In homage of the tune, which is Master Gracie's Manor. Can't wait for get the record out for you guys. We're going to have some pre-order stuff going live real soon. Here's what's been the holdup. We're going to be doing a distribution deal. So that's taking some time to get everything lined up. But it's going to be worth it. Record's going to be great. Super proud of it. And with that said, folks, I think that's going to do it. Jump over to Instagram if you want to see that solo or TikTok. Make sure, hey, before you leave, click subscribe if you don't mind. Just subscribe to the channel, and it'll let you know when I go live and all that good stuff. It really helps. And if you feel generous and you feel that love in your heart with every head bowed and every eye closed, if you feel that love, go over to Patreon, throw $5 at it. It'll keep the machine running. So yeah, that means a lot. Fishbulb says, wait, who was miming? And I'm just going to say this. So many are mimes. I'll tell you who's not miming. Brent Mason's not miming. I'll tell you who else is not miming. Guthrie Govan's not miming. It's Mateus Asado is not miming. These are monsters. Ian Thornley does not mime. So, yeah. All right. Cheers, guys. Thanks for hanging out. Chuck's got the links. We'll see you guys next week. Also, Woodshed's coming up. A lot of great players going to be at it. WoodshedGuitarExperience.com. There you go. Boomer's going to unsubscribe. Oh, well, we can't win them all, right? There you go. Cheers, guys. See you soon.